Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the T coming at you with another video. We're going to be talking about the Storm Monroe and Cynthia G video that premiered. And I have Mrs. T with me. She's really excited to talk about this video and everything that they discussed within. We're going to be playing the video and discussing certain things that we will pull out as we go along. Mrs. T, feel free to stop me at any time to give your unbiased and unfiltered thoughts and commentary.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about this topic. This is a revolutionary conversation, so I definitely am excited to present some commentary on it.
All right, let's get going.
All right, Storm Chasers, happy Saturday. You guys remember this young lady that came with us, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Yeah, so Cynthia G from the Black Women's Empowerment sector of YouTube. But Cynthia G can talk about anything. I don't want to just put her in a box. You know what I'm saying? But Cynthia, welcome officially back to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So
a lot of people liked it. A lot of people, I feel like some people hated on it, which is natural. Some people liked it. They enjoyed it. They got stuff out of it. And so, it was what it was.
You know what? It was a very positive experience. And let me say this. I feel like a lot of people wanted to talk about it, but they was low-key hating. So let me throw this out there at you. One guy said that you attacked the
What do you think about the last video? While they're talking about that, what did you think of the last video that they did together?
I think the interview was dope. I think it was a very eye-opening. I think it was informative. I think she just basically laid out all of her talking points and put them into a package where everybody can take so much from everything that she shares. I like the fact that she uses statistics to back up her opinions, which are not even really opinions anymore. It's just straight facts, facts on facts. And one of the things that I liked the most about that last video, without coming off as a little ratchet, is the fact that she just calls shit out for what it is, and she calls it like she sees it, and she thoroughly holds men responsible for their plight, their current plight, for their current state of affairs, for the current state of affairs of the community that they purport to lead, and the families that they unfortunately, for the most part, have abandoned. Thankfully not destroyed, but definitely abandoned. And the communities that they're currently destroying with either their lack of presence in the home, their lack of education, their lack of resources, i.e., employment, legal employment in a lot of cases, and just the fact that they're in this vortex, it seems currently, where they can't really break free from the imprisonment that they have seemingly put their own selves in. And I like the fact that Cynthia really eloquently but also savagely calls out all the disparities, the discrepancies that are just massive within the Black community currently, and amongst Black men more specifically, and holds them accountable for their actions. Slavery is not just a white construct, and slavery is not something that should be squarely placed on the shoulders of Europeans. Black men have a 100% active role in the start as well as the end of slavery. And, whatever excuses have been given over the years, but to explain why we're in the current predicament that we're in, the fact remains that Black men have helped lead us to where we currently are, because they are, after all, self-proclaimed and self-appointed leaders of the Black community. So we have to take accountability for where we are. What are your thoughts? I know I was kind of not specific just because there was so much information shared in that last video. But I just kind of wanted, this is just my general thought. Um, but what about you?
I agree with what you're saying. I think that Cynthia G is well informed, and that is why I agree with what she says, because she's well informed. She's not just speaking out the side of her neck. She does her research. She is the epitome of evidence-based commentary. She's talking from a place of evidence-based. She's talking from a place of research, and I thoroughly agree with everything that you said.
I'm gonna continue from here. And just a side note, this is a very long video. I think it's 3 hours long total, right? Something like that.
Yeah, well, maybe we could
3 hours
chop it
long.
up.
Yeah, we're
Um,
probably not gonna go through every single aspect of it, but we'll definitely get through as much as we can.
LGBTQ2 plus, got it, community. When you said that a lot of times that Black gay dudes don't want to talk to other Black gay dudes, they want to talk to white dudes, which I agree with you, that is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they were saying that you didn't have any authority to speak on that. So what do you think?
I think not only are listen, not only do Black men in the gay community have an issue with not even coming out and being forthcoming with being gay or bisexual or whatever they like to do, but they take the same white worshiping, self-hating pathology and they just take it to white men. I mean, they do. It just tells a lot about how Black men view other Black men when it comes to relationships, and we see it playing out in the LGBTQ community. But then we're told as Black women, oh, you need to choose better. Well, white women can't choose better Black men. Asian women can't, white Hispanic women can't, because Black men really ain't getting with Black Hispanics, they getting with white Hispanics. So whatever, we'll just pretend like Black men got these options, they really shake the whiteness. No, look, they done said the Kardashians were witches. Their witchcraft can't even vet a good Black man.
Damn.
Their witchcraft can't even. Like the show Love, Married at First Sight, where they have professionals, astrologers, psychologists, psychiatrists. They use like FBI techniques to vet. They can't even vet a good Black man. So whatever Black
can you
man
pause it
said
for a
that,
second?
because it had to be a Black man. I don't think
It
that.
was.
Yeah,
It
right.
was.
So I'm definitely not gonna pause it all the way through, because this is a 3-hour video, and I know we're not gonna spend the whole 3 hours. But I just wanted to speak on that part, because if you're new to Cynthia G, or if you're new to the topic, or if you're new to research, if you're new to history, it probably doesn't sit with a person like, what is she talking about right here? And I just want to say, I was born in the South but grew up in California, and in the Bay Area, or I won't even say in the Bay Area because I've lived all over California but grew up in the Bay Area. In California and in my family, I have every type of person that you could think of, from doctors to pimps. And what I do know about like guys who are doing quote unquote pimping is they will either punish, shun, or set a strong standard to their hoes. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. They set a strong standard to their hoes that they should not take up Black tricks. So what is that really saying overall? And so I think what she's trying to mention is that even Black men know that there's something about them, there's something off, there's something crazy, and then she attributes it to how in Brazil there's a mountain in Brazil and they have a big white statue of Jesus, and she's saying that they have the same statue in Nigeria. So what she's saying in the background is that there's a total respect, a high regard, desire to mimic and replicate whiteness and white men by and through black men, whether they know that or understand it or not. They follow the white male standard and the white folk, if you will, standard of beauty overall. So I just think what she's saying right now is even revolutionary and powerful, because a lot of people don't even realize that. I just wanted to point that out.
Was just triggered.
Yeah, he was definitely triggered, and then I guess he felt like I should not have agreed with that. He felt like you didn't know what you was talking about because you're not a part of that community. But we're not part of that community, but we're just talking about what we see visually. Hell, you can look at Don Lemon on CNN. He talks all that pro-black shit, but his husband is white. So you so pro-black, but you going in, as you would say, the bussy hole of the Caucasus Mountains. That's all I'm saying.
Is Bill Porter not sucking white dick?
I'm sucking a lot of white dick.
Okay, exactly. Ed Buck, did he have a problem with black men running through, being his little bussy popping thug hunter concubines? No,
not at all. Thank you, Camo Beauty. It's a yeah, you're right. So, all right, first thing I wanted to throw at you today, Common and Tiffany Haddish. Now, I had already said that relationship was not going to work. I didn't really believe that it was. But why do you think Common can't commit to any woman that he's been with? Like, he just has straight commitment issues. But if you were to look deeper, what kind of analysis would you give on Common?
I was saying because Kanye West or Common, and it's funny because I used to really like Common. I used to thought Common was like the epitome of the versatility that you would want in a man, to where he can be that corporate dude, or he seemed like he can be a thug if he needs to. So I actually used to really like Common. But Common is suffering from black male pathology. And black men are generally not known to be the commitment type. They weren't socialized.
Can you pause it again?
While black women were.
She just says so much right there. Even when she just says the word pathology, I think so many of us really miss, like, what is she talking about? Pathology, or something that's pathological, means that it's like compulsive or impulsive. Like, you are pathologically, like how they say someone could be a pathological liar. Like, you can't do and be true and honest because you're a pathological liar. And, that's just an example. So it's like when she's talking about this pathology that black men have, it's like they have a propensity to function and act this way. Like, what this woman is saying is really powerful. This is revolutionary. I have not heard any, from Oprah to Ayanna to any of the greats, any revolutionary person, probably other than Assata Shakur, speak about, because Assata Shakur did talk about this. Assata Shakur had a phrase where she said a revolutionary woman cannot have no reactionary man. And basically she was talking about when you're reactionary, you're acting kind of on impulse. So what she's talking about pathological, she's saying that this is like a disease. This is a pattern that they may not even understand that they have. Like, this conversation is highly revolutionary. I just want to point that out.
Socialized to be black men's ride or die. Black men were somehow socialized to sow their wild oats, put women through the ringer, never really commit to one. And even when you do get married to them, you can cheat on them because that's just what men do. So I think that I'm not saying that all men don't cheat, not by any stretch of the matter. But black men seem to place no value on commitments or family. So I think Common is suffering from black male pathology. And I think we need to stop thinking because a man is a celebrity or he has a certain amount of money, that he's not going to be an air match with Mandingo.
And hearing you say that, I spoke about it when I did my interview on Tasha K's app. My dad even used to tell me when I was coming up, his words were, you put a woman through hell for at least 5 years, and then if she sticks with you through that, then you can think about marrying her at that point.
Can you pause it again right there?
Now, who have we heard say that ridiculous line multiple times?
Oh
You have
my
to put a
God.
woman. You have to put a woman through this, that, and the other. You got to put her through hell in order to see if she's going to stick with you. Instead of just treating her right, and hoping for the best possible outcome. Go ahead, Miss T.
And that is such a fear-based action. Like that is so insecure. Like I'm so terrified that you might leave me or that you're not the right one that I'm gonna send you through the ringer just to make sure. Like who taught you that? And where is your instinct to protect? Like that kind of forfeits the whole instinct to protect the woman that you are wanting to be with. Why is that instinct not there? Why is your first approach to let me see how much I can put you through to make sure that you're this and that? Because I'm so insecure, I'm so terrified and afraid. It's like when the first time I heard people talk about black men are weak and this and that, it's like I know some gangsters. Like that cannot be, but it is so. Because if that's your pathology, if that's what you're doing, if that's how you're going about it, why is that? Why is this what fathers are trying to pass down? This is your survival technique. This is your insertion to the community for a black family. And I appreciate Storm for being so candid with this, like just to say that. And like he talks about later, I recall, like, he gives his fathers his accolades. It's not like he's bashing his father or anything. He's just speaking facts of what's being passed down, what the pathology looks like.
I have to completely agree with that, and we do need to give credit where credit's due when we do have black men that step up to the plate to really, you know, kind of undress themselves and bear all of their issues to the world and say, hey, this is not okay. This is what's happening. Let's maybe try to come up with some solutions. And if we can't come up with solutions, then we at least need to keep on pointing out what is happening and just getting more people on board to understanding what we're seeing and what we have been seeing. I think Cynthia G has talked about this multiple times in the past, and that is the fact that this is not a new construct. This is not new. This is something that black women have been silently suffering with for decades now, and it's dates all the way back to slavery as well. So we're talking generations here. We're talking centuries now, and so we really need to be aware, like you said, of this pathology and why it has persisted, who the enablers are, who the co-stars are. Black women have become the codependents of this this toxic patriarchy that has infected our community. We have black women that are on the front lines fighting the good fight for black men, but yet turning around and becoming a casualty of that same black man that she's fighting for. So we have things like this happening within our community so often that it's becoming just something that we expect now. But what we're seeing is a highlight of a just unjust, unfair. And it's interesting how we always talk about energy and how karma works, and black men for the most part kind of need to, I think, on even a deeper spiritual level, need to understand why they are facing a lot of the things that they are facing in society that are unjust. But at the same time, and in the same token, are you protecting black women? What is When does black women's obligation to defend and protect you end, especially when it's not being reciprocated? We are the victims of, and I'm not going to say we because I don't consider myself a victim, but I am speaking for those who are true victims and survivors of sexism, sexual assault, homicides, domestic violence at just unbelievable rates, especially with the onset of COVID and quarantine and all of the social and political and economical changes that have impacted the country over the past 2 years. Have definitely had a harrowing impact on the black community and black men specifically, is there's always a trickle down. And um, the sad fact, and I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place and going to the extreme, but the extreme is where we must go to, and this is where we're at because of the extremes that have been perpetrated against us within our own community for so long now. So very thankful for commentators and intellectuals like Cynthia and, Storm allowing this type of discourse on his platform is very important. And the fact that it is a respectful discourse is even it's a great example of where we could and should be within our community as it relates to the different genders and coming together and finding solutions instead of perpetrating the disconnect and the danger, because we're in a dangerous state right now. And that is why I think so many Black women are waking up, taking the blinders off and accepting things for what they are. What we're seeing, like you said, right now, and I know YouTube is just the start of it. These conversations are happening in circles all over the country in secrecy, not really secrecy, it's just within private groups of friends and women that do see what's going on and aren't afraid to speak on it. So I'm, especially as a woman who is a woman who is a same sex lover. I especially am thankful that
Love,
a straight woman is the one that's kind of knocking on heads and waking folks up. Because if someone like me, it would be a whole reason and agenda behind why it's happening. But the truth is the truth. And we all have fathers, brothers, uncles, grandfathers, male ancestors that we have a right to speak up and to, kind of say enough is enough. And I think I've talked enough. So
you said so many powerful things there, so I'm not mad that you took the time to say it all. I just want to point out one other thing that came to mind as you were speaking. It reminded me of that YouTuber, the lawyer, the lead attorney. He's a Black lawyer, and I was watching him quite a bit more recently. But then I was scrolling through his channel and I saw that he did a video on how to get your child support extinguished or how to pay less child support. And it's like, it's the level of fear, because what I believe is that in and of the universe there only exists truly love or fear are the only two real emotions. But outside of that, it's this fear-based accountability, like just terrified to be accountable, but not only terrified to be accountable, terrified to uplift your women in any way. Like, if you have to pay child support, then she has to be a grungy, gold digging whole bitch that's just trash and I gotta find a way to not make sure she gets this money kind of thing. When you listen to people like Kevin Samuels, just completely fear-based ideologies, like, oh, if she has a child, she's just trash. It's like other cultures, most men and other cultures of men feel like, if I fall in love with a woman and she has a child, then I gain two more children and I'm gonna love them, and they want to put their chests out how they're helping take care of a woman's child. But in our community, that's a simp, that's a sucker. And it's like, all of that, we've been watching it and we just turn our ear to it, but they are actually bringing forth. That's why I feel like this is a revolutionary conversation. These are two revolutionaries of our time right here. I know that might seem like a stretch, but this is a revolutionary conversation to bring that to the forefront, that, hey, being terrified to show love to your women, being terrified to make sure that they have enough money to care for the children that you created, being terrified to step up to the plate if you're with a woman who's single and go ahead and do right by the children. If everyone did that, we would do so much justice to our community. So I won't go on and on because they have so many great points to make. But what you said reminded me, like I mentioned, of just this fear-based ideology that's just perpetuating, and it's so right in your face but hidden. Like, people don't recognize how detrimental thoughts that people like the lead attorney and whatever his name is again. I forgot his name that fast. He's so irrelevant. The skinny guy with the glasses who was saying men should be able to be with men now. Kevin Samuels. You know, it's just complete fear-based ideology, and I rest my case on that.
I really want to talk about this thing that they call an intersectionality that exists within just identifying as a Black woman in this day and age, and how we are often having to choose between which cause is most important. And I think one of our biggest issues with, just with being a Black woman is we're often having to choose between, should we address the sexism and misogyny that is ever present in our lives, or do we address more specifically the racism that we're subjected with, both institutionally and, direct in your face on, sometimes a daily basis for a lot of us. And so we're left with wondering, who the real enemy is, and if we really do have enemies out there, or do we just have people that are working tirelessly to keep us oppressed? Because, the truth of the matter is that whoever's in charge they don't want to give up that power, you know? And that's why it's been so hard to fight the system. I think it's been even harder to fight the system because so many of our Black men, our quote unquote Black warriors, have literally given up. They've decided to, no longer pursue things like education. And then the ones that do, are the ones that are easily, um, and I'm not going to say easily, but oftentimes they are easily indoctrinated into a system that is built around oppression. But Black men do also share a privilege that Black women don't yet have, and could we even think to aspire to, um, and in this system that we're currently living in, when men rule and women impact that rule. So it's just, there's just always this gender war, but within that gender war there are racial disparities, and Black women are often kind of like trying to figure out, which battle do we fight. And we shouldn't have to fight a battle with our own men, as it relates to just being treated um, right. I mean, treated like the divine goddess that she is, that brings life forth every single day, every single hour. And so I'm going to continue the video unless you have something that you would like to add to this.
No, go ahead, babe.
And then even if I look at what my mom taught me, she didn't tell me to do no shit like that, but she didn't mold me for marriage. It was just for you stay, you had your own shit, you do your own thing. It did, so nobody definitely socialized me for marriage at all. Nobody did. And I told y'all that on Tasha K show.
Did he ever explain to you why are you putting her through 5 years of hell? Like, did he ever say why you're doing that?
He felt like, well, I can tell you, because as a kid, I was like, well, why would I do that? Because that didn't seem like it made sense to me. But his logic was, well, every day ain't gonna be sunny, and so you need to know that she's gonna be able to stick by you when things ain't good. Because my dad's an asshole, so he's one of them people that he's just real difficult to get along with anyway. And so that was his logic. Like, well, every day ain't gonna be sunny anyway, so I need to see if I cheat on you, you gonna stick by me or you gonna leave. If I'm a dick to you, you gonna walk out or you gonna stay. That was his logic. But he's also been divorced twice and turned 2 women into lesbians. So yeah.
Listen, most Black women, unfortunately, will go through that because we're conditioned to. Now, mine was a little bit different.
Okay.
I didn't grow up with my dad. I've talked about that a lot. And I saw my mom moving in a manner to where she didn't act like she really needed a man. Like we were doing everything on our own. I saw her have to, even though she was married, because they'll tell you just get married and then all these problems will go away. You'll have a father for your children. And it's like, well, really, what we're not told is that Black men been making married single mothers since they walked off the plantation. We weren't told that part though. But I'm not built for dealing with no shenanigans for 5 years. I'm not. I'm not about to do that. If a man even give me 5 straight months of shenanigans, I'm not doing that.
And I feel you. And to me, I mean, maybe I'm fucked up because I just feel like, you can correct me. I feel like if we're in a relationship, why can't I just respect you and you respect me? I don't really want to play games or mind games. I don't want to do that. But I mean, he's a dick, but he keeps a woman. So I'm just like, well, damn, is he doing something right? Because he.
No, he's just being a black man in a black man worshiping culture. That's all he's doing. And it's funny because I was just looking at a TikTok video, and listen, whatever type of mate a black woman chooses, that's fine. But in this TikTok video, there was a man asking, and it was a black man, so his message obviously was probably targeted to black women, asking what if the perfect man for you was bisexual.
What the fuck? No, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What in the Kevin Samuels is going on? You know,
like, I'm not dealing with my man. Or what are we sharing dick sucking stories? I mean, it's like, is he coming back and telling you the size, shape, and girth of the dick that he was sucking, and then we comparing it to, like, how are we doing it? Like, I can't do that. But the thing is that there was a lot of black women in the comment section talking about, they've become more open-minded. They used to be immature, but now there was even one woman who said that she would accept love no matter how it's packaged. And what she really meant is she will accept the black man no matter how he's packaged, because this is a black man worshiping culture. Look, listen, one day y'all are gonna believe me.
I just, for somebody to say, though, your soulmate may be bisexual. Now, what I say is your soulmate may be 5'10" instead of 6 feet. That's what I say. Mm-hmm. But to say he may be, no. Straight people like straight people, I would think, right? Right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, black men being so-called closet bisexual is the leading cause of HIV for black women. So I feel like the fact that this is even promoted and accepted by black women is telling me quite a bit. It's telling me that black women are desperate. They just want a black man. And it's telling me that black men, rather than changing and standing in their truth and being honest, they're trying to find all these backdoor ways to get black women to accept whatever they come with. And it's working, because most black women do. They don't really care about how the black man is packaged. Many of them will say it. They don't care how many problems he comes with, baby mamas, cheating. They'll take them however.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen some of that as well. And I've even talked about on my channel how I had to tell the women that watch me, like, look, niggas will use you too, right? Like, all that adoption shit, surrogacy shit is expensive. And so if a dude know that he really gay for real, he'll marry you and get with you just to have some kids. Like, dudes do that too. He know he ain't really trying to end up with you long term. He gonna leave you, but he wants that part of his life as well. So it's fucked up the way it is. People just
it really is. And it shows you how either there's so many black men who are closet LGBTQ, or they don't care if Kevin Samuels is gay because they want to suck his dick. He said his dick is big. So. He did. He got inches. So
I remember. Wait, did he give measurements, or are you talking about that clip?
Yeah, that clip when he said he knows he got it. And look, he probably does have a big dick. He's tall and skinny. That's usually how it comes out. The tall, skinny black dudes usually have inches. He probably got some inches. But why are you up here asking where the big dick's at, though?
Damn.
Black men don't care who follow him. And I'm telling you, they don't care. Look, this man done had his glitch fall out the bed. He been cheering. I don't know what. Look, there's nothing more that this man needs to do. The black men who are following, they want to suck his dick. Ain't nobody telling me anything different. They want to suck his dick.
Well, he said y'all was haters because he said clearly there was somebody that was on the Zoom call.
With the glitch?
That's what he said.
Yeah, no, because listen, he can say that to non-content creators, but let's look, on StreamYards, can you not see who's coming in before you let them in?
Sure can. I can see it right here below you.
On Zoom, I can see who's trying to come in before they come in. So there's no this person snuck into my queue and I accidentally put them on there. This was your glitch laying in your bed with no headboard and footboard. Like Kevin, look, Kevin know what's real. He got him an air mattress Mandingo too.
I'm so fucking done. Let me ask you your opinion on this, since we keeping it real tonight. Let's dig a little deeper. Do you think people that are gay, is that were they born that way, or are they conditioned to be that way?
I don't think they're born that way. I think it's their choice, and I respect their choice. But I just don't think that they're born that. Where is the gay gene? Where's that?
Oh shit! I'm finna get some hate mail over this.
I feel like obviously we're drawn to the things that we're going to be attracted to, and a lot of stuff is natural. But I do feel that, when you're gay or when you're same sex, when you have an attraction towards the same sex, I don't feel that everybody should be put in the same box that says, I was born this way. Because I know that, we all have behaviors that we can associate with different, sexualities as the years go by. But, it is a conscious decision that I feel like we all make, no matter kind of, no matter how we identify. I think we all make a decision that, I want to pursue this, or I want to pursue that, or, what do I want my comfort level to be? Because, you have women out here that are straight and they get with men who they really don't want to be with. And it's just like that. Sometimes it could be like that too. Sometimes we could be with you could be with the opposite sex and you really don't want to be with them. So why are you doing this to yourself? So we do this to ourselves when it comes to more than just sexuality. We do this when it comes to relationships and when it comes to people. So it's very, very, very possible that, a lot of gay people do make a choice to be in same-sex relationships. And I damn sure, whether or not it is a choice or is natural, I choose to be with women. And I have no reservations or qualms about that decision. I love women and I prefer women. And, we all do have a choice, but my preference is clear. So I don't take any offense to that at all. What about you?
No, I definitely don't take any offense to that. Nature versus nurture is always going to be like a lasting argument, and it's yet to be seen. I feel like it's a choice for me. I definitely choose you. Like we're in a lesbian relationship. I definitely choose you. It's definitely a conscious choice. However, in other spectrums, when I feel like she's talking about down low men and stuff, I feel like to be honest, I feel like it's just a promiscuity and a immature promiscuity where they're just being down low because they are just really don't have a lot of self-control and are so sex driven that it's like I
I
don't care if
agree.
it's I feel like it's kind of like I don't care if it's a booty, if it's a mouth, if it's an ear hole, if it's a dog butt,
It's
like
kind of like a prison mentality. It's
I
like,
feel like
oh,
they just are desperate for a nut and are really sex driven. And that might sound really, really harsh, but knowing what I know about a lot of cultures, a lot of men, a lot of women, oftentimes, like with down low men, it's just uh, super freaks. Like I'm just trying to get it in, and they don't care if it's a man, a woman, a dog, or And I'm not saying not all of them are like have zoophilia, which is like want to have sex with animals and stuff. Not all of them, but we see that too on the cult leader that you were tracking for quite some time. He had even mentioned how he had some exchanges with animals. It's just like I hate to say it, but I'm gonna just be real. It's just the nastiness. Like I'm just here to get it wherever I can get it, and that spills over into all households and relationships. They allow that to spill over into like the institution of marriage. Like, well, I really can't be poly. Like I can't stop. I just need to have so many women. It's like once you reach a level of maturity, and you can only do that if you've ever chosen to be celibate, if you ever practiced having self-control, just not even over sex, just over life in general, if you ever practice like getting to know yourself and having sex self-control and practicing celibacy, you come to a point of realization that a nut is a nut is a nut. I don't have to be with 15 people to be satisfied. I can F the mess out of my damn self if I need to. Like, it's not that serious. You have to be able to have that self accountability and self control to just not do anything. And unfortunately, that is what we see in our community. Just anything goes. Just, I want to just be so sexual is basically the mindset. They just are so sex driven. It's like you can't be that impulsive to where you're just doing whatever. And
Don't
I
you
think
think it comes from insecurity though, and from being this black male worship that Cynthia talks about, where your member, your eggplant is, you know, your source of masculinity, and it's just completely toxic, and it's completely just, to me it shows a glaring insecurity overall. And I agree with you. I'm sorry. Go on. I
Well,
interrupted you.
no, you good, babe. But no, to be honest, and I'm gonna just be candid tonight. I really feel like it's a conduct disorder. Like psychology studies this kind of thing. It's just a conduct disorder. Like you don't have the capacity to conduct yourself in a manner that's safe and self-preserving. It's like you don't have enough self-control to even care. Like, for everything, any kind of job, they always say safety first. Like, if you just even think about safety first analogy, and I'm gonna just say this: the anal cavity, that's where our poop comes out of. There exists so many different strands of bacteria in the anal cavity. You have like streptococcus, Bacterium, lactobacillus. If that is your way of having sex and you're willing to do that, then it would be more logical that you would choose to do that with someone who you are with and have a good relationship with, and you have a partner, because you want to be safe. You don't want to be promiscuous in that, because if you're going to do that, you need to think about that. It's like, where's the self-control? And so if you want to do that and that's a vice of sex for you, then be responsible. Where is the responsibility? I'm speaking towards down lowness primarily, and the self-control and this sex driven thing, because it sounds like everything in our community continues to boil down to like something sexual, something hypersexual. And I used to hate that they always classify Black women as being hypersexual, Black men being hypersexual. But unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that. Where's the self control? You have to have some class and some sophistication about yourself. You could be a cold freak. I won't even say, we could be cold freaks. I'm not mad at anything getting freaky, but safety first. And when you're functioning like safety first, then you have self-control over everything in life. When you start applying self-control behind closed doors, like making sure you're clean when you do it, okay, why is the focus not on having self-control and being the best version of yourself, which being the best version of yourself would be always keeping yourself safe?
I love it though.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's their choice. It's their choice. And I don't have a problem with who chooses to live their life. Live your life however you want to live it. But the thing is, if I go cut all my hair off, that's a choice. If I go carpet munch, I'm choosing to engage in that behavior. I just am. I'm choosing to engage in that behavior. And so the bottom line of it is I think it's a choice, but it's their choice. Should they be ostracized and discriminated? No, but it's their choice. I think they should respect other people's choice and other people's opinion, just like we're expected to respect their choice.
I hear you. I'm gonna have to have somebody on to explain that believes in engaging, or that I'm just gonna have to have somebody on and maybe let folks debate on that. Okay, let's talk about this. You seen NBA YoungBoy talking about he like putting on makeup. I said this pussy might have got popped in jail. You said it might have happened way before jail.
So, like, listen, this goes to a lot of black men not wanting to stand in their truth. And I don't know if this is because of, generational trauma genetically, because nobody's going to convince me that you spend hundreds of years being bred with certain behaviors and activity and it doesn't get into your gene pool. So I don't know if it's because of that. I don't know if it's because of black men's position in society and even within this community where they're comfortable being in the role of a woman.
Okay.
But the bottom line of it is there's too many of them who do not want to live their truth. If you as a man want to go suck dick and you like women too, just say that. Don't sit up here and say you wearing makeup because you want to feel like a rock star. No, you want to feel like a white man or a white woman. It's just that simple. And somebody probably ran his pussy in jail. Somebody probably did. Somebody had him bending over and grabbing his ankles.
No, man. Because I'm trying to when I heard him say it in the way he said it, I was like, what? And he said, I just like to look in the mirror and see all black. So you want to cover yourself up, so you're hiding something, so you're hiding trauma, so you're hiding. Basically, you only feel like yourself when you don't look like yourself. Okay.
And next he's gonna be saying he liked to wear panties and lace lingerie and all of it. He's gonna eventually come out and talk about how he liked doing that too. It's just look, I think black men are struggling with a lot of different psychological ailments. And I think that because we live in this black male worshiping culture, it's never talked about. And it's interesting because whenever we think about slavery or Jim Crow, we think about black men and their experience with it, but we never.
I want to pause it for a minute because I agree with that. Oh, there's a big issue that it's just a difficult topic for black men to really come to terms with. I remember doing a live once. I remember being on a panel where we were discussing beauty standards today versus yesteryear. And I remember being on a panel with a bunch of guys and the host of the panel. And one guy in particular, I will not use his name here because he did used to watch my channel. But I remember getting into a lively debate with him just about femininity and masculinity. I think he was alluding to the of making a point of, you know, men needing to provide maintenance in a relationship, and maintenance is really important. It's something that men and women do in our own ways within the construct of the roles that we have within that relationship with our significant other. And I remember wondering out loud if maintenance could be considered a feminine trait within the constructs of a relationship. Now, whether or not yes or no, that it could be considered that, depending on who you are or how you think, he was highly offended by maintenance, even coming to on the tip of my tongue, that it could be looked at as a feminist, as put in the feminist bucket, are not feminist, I'm sorry, feminine, as a trait of femininity, of maintenance and nurturing and showing care, loving and concern. And I think ultimately he was right, because that is also a trait, in my opinion, of masculinity, the ability to show nurturing and care, protection, concern, and all of that. And that's why I think femininity and masculinity are so there are major things that make them individual um, aspects, but there are also many similarities within the feminine and masculine confines or structures as well. And I just remember him being so offended by even having the word feminine associated with his malehood. That's a problem. Like, that's a big issue, and I feel like a lot of these men are hiding. They're hiding. They're running away from their femininity, which is causing um it's not healthy. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy when you've recognized that yes, we all have aspects of masculinity and femininity on differing scales within us. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think, you have these young guys like NBA Youngboy that go to the extreme with expressing their femininity because they've had no other healthy outlets to express that over their lifetime, or they might have had things happen to them that challenge their the idea of masculinity or that idea of manhood, such as being touched, or being exposed to things that are inappropriate, sexually inappropriate, as a child or as a developing young person. But I mean, that's just kind of my scrambled thoughts on it. But I feel like one of the biggest issues is the fact that you know being or expressing femininity, uh there's no healthy consensus amongst Black men. And I don't know what do we do with that. What are your thoughts on that? I could be off base, but curious to know what you think.
Well, well, here's my thing. Whether masculine or feminine, it's like, why are we even worried about this promiscuity and this nastiness and who's going in whose butthole? Men screwing women in the butt, men screwing men in the butt. The reason why it's important is because it seems that in our culture, that's the dominating force, that's the drive. Men are now really advocating for polygamy because they just want primarily more women in sex. They don't really care about the generativity aspect of it. And I think that's the problem in our culture. A lot of people in our culture don't have a sense of generativity. Like, what are we doing for the future generations that come? If you're a polygamist and you're creating all these households, because I feel like once you create a child, that should constitute a household, because a child needs their mother and father. For all these people that we have out here, they should understand, especially in our community where single parenting and with Black fathers not being in the home as much. There's a study that says Black fathers are more in the home than any other culture. I still feel like that was a skewed survey because I just can't believe that. But statistics show that there are like Black men in home. But however, according to what I've seen in the communities where I've grown up and what I've seen in families, that's a piece that's missing. And so I think whether masculine or feminine, or whether someone is promiscuous or not, what we need to change in our community is the sense of generativity. What are we doing for the next generation? And the best thing that we could do for the next generation is make sure that people stick around to raise the children that they create, that people stick around to respect the women who bore the children that they created. When you think about someone like Future, he's created all these households of children. So every time he gets another woman pregnant, he literally is creating another household where at nighttime, a mother's putting that child to bed alone. Yeah, he might be contributing financially or however, but that's just not it. And I need our men to get that. That's just not it. That's not enough that you contribute some money. And like I said, the lead attorney had a whole video on how you can make sure you get your child support lowered. They don't even want to do that. They despise helping a Black woman.
You know
Meanwhile,
who,
all
who does,
these.
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's okay, honey. Meanwhile, all these households are being created. It's not fair to children. It's not right. It's not fair to children that they have to constantly grow up without a father. It's not fair to children that they grow up and have to, every generation that, or the majority of generations that we create in the Black community are generations without assets, because no one stuck around to make sure that they have some assets to pass down. They're not passing down homes as regularly as other cultures. They're not passing down wealth. There is no generational wealth, really. You're hard pressed to find it in our community, and that should be the forefront. Whether you like throwing up on dicks or getting it in the culo or whatever, who really cares about all that? We could just say it's nasty if we want to judge them, but ultimately, where's the generativity aspect? What are we doing for the next generation? Why don't the majority of people in our culture care about the development of the children. How is it okay that Nick Cannon's just creating children? Oh, I'm just creating another child, creating another child. If you with somebody, or if you're not with the first mother, you're not with the second mother, you're not, like, it's ridiculous. It needs to be more responsible. And if they think that that's doing something like populating our culture by making sure we have more and more people in our culture, what good does that do? Is that if more people in our culture are going to suffer psychologically because they don't have a father in the home? A father is extremely important to a developing human, to a developing human. There are so many research studies and evidence-based practices that show that a father can optimize the development of a human in so many ways. Absolutely, women are great. We nurture, of course, all that. But both is just a phenomenal thing. It's just phenomenal. These fathers need to understand, the men in this community need to understand and place value over the women that are bearing their children, and place value over developing those children. And if not, then they need to be responsible enough to go get that nut by their lonesome in their bathroom by themselves, or pull out, put a condom on, do something, but not just creating all these children, then talk about the low down bitch that had bore their child. Just like Cynthia G always say, you have to inject yourself inside to create a child. So how dare you have anything to say about it? So that's my thought on that. I feel like it's the generativity should be the primary focus. And that's what the real problem is. People are acting on impulse because they want that instant gratification of a nut. And that's what's wrong with our community, in my humble opinion.
Think about what that experience has done to them psychologically. We see these different manifestations, but all we hear is speak life into him and uplift the Black man and do this. Like, no, get Black men a psychiatrist, get them some counseling, and promote them getting mental health evaluations. Like that's what they need.
I hear you, definitely. I mean, matter of fact, I don't think I've met any Black men that didn't need therapy. I've benefited greatly from it the last 11, 10 months. I'm just saying, like, fuck.
Everybody should get it. And you know what the thing is, as a Black man, you saying that, they would call you a simp. Meanwhile, they out here wearing skinny jeans and nut huggers, bussy popping, like literally sitting up here basically doing everything but sucking dick on camera.
Can you stop it for a second?
And so it's like, you can sit.
I just have to say, I'm a Storm chaser. I'm a fan of Storm because I have watched him. Storm is powerful. And that boy, that man, excuse me, that man is a revolutionary all his own. I've watched his channel, and he talked about he was celibate for a while. And yeah, he had some fun escapades or whatever, traveling or what have you. But he gets it. He understands it. He's candid about himself. He has exhibited the self-control that we need to see in our community. He ain't no punk. Storm got it. He's exhibited self-control. He's aware of himself. He's not threatened by this conversation because he understands that as a man, he has a responsibility. Like he said, like he feels like he ain't got no business doing that. He says it. I don't know if he already said it or if he's gonna say it later, but he said his mama told him, basically, you ain't got no business running up in nobody if you can't take care of them, you know? And one thing that my mother and grandmother always told me and my brothers is that no matter what you're doing in life, you got to always make sure that you can take care of you before you think about doing anything else. Can you take care of you? And basically, that's not in our community. They can't take care of themselves, and they're just creating these children, and it's just running amok. It looks chaotic. It looks ridiculous, and you can't blame it on slavery. And we can't blame it on the system because guess what? George Floyd person got convicted. Yeah, the other what's the other guy now? I hate that I'm lost for words because I definitely don't want to aim any element of forgetfulness to any of these. But the other one with the hoodie, I don't know why I'm so absent-minded right now. But with the guy that with the Skittle bag and I think of it. Come on.
Trayvon Martin.
Yes. Trayvon Martin. His guy didn't get off. But ultimately, I'm saying all that to say is that we can scream, kick, and everything and say the system, but the system has things in place that if you take some stuff to court and say that someone violated your constitutional rights, guess what? You win. I don't see a lot of black men doing that. And all I hear more about is how horrible the system is. Oh, we can't do anything. Like, it's like if I can't, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this quickly and I'm gonna shut up. But if I was in a situation where I had to be in a race and I felt like I couldn't get ahead because they had already started before me and they're doing real well. I'm not about to complain and cry and keep saying they cheated every time they win. Oh, they cheated. They got a better start. They got more people. They hit the person they helped them. I'm going to do what I need to do to win. I'm going to take note of all that and be like, oh, and if I know that they cheated, I'm going to go let the ref know and he's going to need to stop the game. And that's what we can do in court. But we hinder ourselves often because that instant gratification often leads to a point where we don't even care about having a voice. We care more about having a chain, the latest car, the latest outfit, the Gucci, the subscribers, the dragons on Bigo. We don't care about having a voice. We don't care about taking stuff to court. I knew I had a neighbor that was always in court, and we would always talk about her like she just be taking everybody to court. Like but you know what? If someone wronged you, you can go and take them before a judge, pull them up in a court of law, and fight. We need to be fighting. Black men need to be fighting. They have so much to say. For instance, the cult leader that you were tracking, the main story now is, oh, I'm not going to fight her in the system. She took my kids. I'm not doing that. Like, you're not just going to take my child and I'm going to say there's going to be no excuse. I'll die trying, And same for as our country and our state of being as a whole. If someone come up in my house and I have children there, that's going to be the last thing they did before I died or before they died. But you're not going to hurt these kids. Where's that at? We don't have to be violent because we can go to court. But where is that aspect that if it does come to it, where is that aspect of I'm just not doing it? I'm just not. We only see that when it comes to the streets and black on black crime and intercultural racism and colorism. We only see it there. We'll fight each other because somebody called you a this or that, or we'll fight each other because you got sold more records and I'm jealous of you now. But where's the big fight when it comes to your household? That's what I'm about. Don't come up in here, So now here we are hundreds of years later and all they're doing is complaining about it. No, I don't want to hear no whine about it. I want to hear you going to court about it or doing something about it. I would never just sit and raise my mouth to say, oh, they cheated and they keep, their system, they got everything going. I'm going to try to be that change I want to see. If I feel like the system is full of all these folks, guess what? I might just try to go become a lawyer. If they say no because you have a felony, then do what it takes to get it off your record. And if you can't do that, then finance your little cousin coming up and make sure he goes right, make sure he gets it. But there's no fight. The only fight there is a fight for some more pussy, some more diamonds, some more big old dragons, some more, that's the only thing I see people really going hard about. I don't see these YouTubers going real hard about protecting their culture. And I'll shut up there because I'm starting to go off on too many tangents. But like I said, this is a revolutionary conversation. And I have a lot of respect for Storm. He's able to speak his piece and he's been doing it for a long time. I remember when he was beeping on here and they was all attacking him. And he said, hey, you know what? If you run up on me, I'm calling the police. That's it. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to do none of that. I actually have hands, but I'm not here for that. I'm on here to YouTube because I'm turning this into my career, and I ain't got time for that. That ain't what I'm here for. Because he recognized, like, as a man, like, I'm not fit to want to kill you over no YouTube shit. Like, but I think that he would. If somebody probably ran up on his mama, I believe Storm got them hands. I believe he'd throw them things too. It's like the epitome of worried about the wrong shit is the problem with our community.
There and call the next man a simp because he's dealing with his psychological health, which you should treat your mental health the way you treat your physical health. You should be getting it checked out. But a lot of black men especially don't do that either. But it's like, look, y'all need to really be sitting up and getting some psychological evaluations.
I agree, because one thing I realized a few years ago that I never wanted to be was that, 45-year-old man, 50-year-old man, let's just say like Kevin Hart or many other ones that we see, and you're a grown man, you got gray hair and shit, but you fucking immature. It's like you hear them speak, and like you'll hear Kevin Hart say, "Oh, I cheated on my wife because I didn't have my boys there to slap me in the head and tell me not to do it." Like, what? Like, how old are, like, just say you like fucking hoes. Like, it's the lack of maturity. And I wanted to make sure I was headed down that path, but make sure I don't end up like that. So that's one of my reasons for therapy that I recommend it.
The growth is stunted to a degree to where I think basic man instincts are not in black men. And I don't know if this was created by the process of selective breeding, which some people have speculated that on those breeding farms they were trying to breed in more. Oh no. I know you couldn't see that, but
that's a nap
for their queen. They don't work for the king. They work and they build for the queen. If ants and bees got it, what is missing in black men? Like, what is missing? You're supposed to provide, you're supposed to protect. These are innate abilities that you have. If you literally observe every species of males down to insects, this is what they're doing.
And we're gonna stop it there. I know we are at over the 1 hour mark right now, and I know this is a 3-hour live, so we're definitely gonna have some additional parts coming up. I just want to thank everyone in the audience for tuning in. I know these type of discussions can seem like they might be boring, but they're really not, and you can learn so much. I think that the wealth of information that Cynthia G is providing to Black women is immeasurable, and it is priceless information, because we are still living in times where we got we're still contending with even the baby boomers right now. And I'm sure there's a lot of us out there that have mothers and aunties and grandmas that are Black male worshipers, and that is why this system, quote unquote, persists. And so this is time for us to step up to the plate and kind of break down these structures and restore things the way that they should be. And that is that Black men should be uplifting Black women. It shouldn't be a one-way street. We shouldn't be out there protesting against brutality against Black men when no one is protesting against brutality against Black women at the hands of Black men. It makes no sense, and it's literally insanity. And it's something that I think for the most part a lot of men are just counting on us women continuing that insanity, because it works out for their benefit every single time. And so once we start putting ourselves on pedestals like we should be, I think that the tides will completely turn, and they're already turning right now. They really are. There are so many different topics that I would love to talk about, and we will be talking about moving forward. There's this one story out of Georgia where they broke apart a ring of actual slavery that's going on, and it's being propagated against people of Latin descent, people from Mexico, Honduras, Central America. But these people so slavery is still alive and well, even in this country. And it's just interesting that it is affecting a different race of people. So, eventually we are going to come to a place where it's going to be like, you know what? There are terrible things that are happening not only to us, and Black men have not gotten to that point yet where they're willing to acknowledge that they are not the only ones. They're not even close. Once you stop victimizing your mothers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, fiancés, then perhaps the state of victimization against you will end. And so it's a vicious cycle, but we also have to look at karmic debt. We have to look at the spiritually as well as on a physical level, psychological level. Thank God for all of the people like you, babe, out there, Cynthia, who are coming from these psychological levels and therapeutic levels, and adding their knowledge and their expertise into this conversation, because it's definitely has been a long time coming, and I'm glad to see the conversation finally being had. And yes, Cynthia is savage. Yes, she is harsh, but is she factual? Yes, she's factual, and she's not saying anything, in my opinion, out of disdain, out of just trying to drag her down on Black men. I think she is leveling the playing field, and there are thousands of videos and Black male commentators on YouTube that make a living dragging Black women. And where does the buck stop, and when does it stop? At some point, you're gonna have to look in the mirror and determine that you're the problem and figure out how to fix yourself. And like they've alluded to in the few minutes that we did watch, therapy is definitely one of the biggest things that I think would help get the healing started for most, if not all, Black men. I know the Black men in my family can definitely use therapy. They need a sounding board. They need to, learn healthy ways to cope, to live, to love, to nurture, to protect, and to provide, because these are all the things that make up a family unit and keep that family unit together and thriving and building legacy and building wealth. Not only monetary wealth, but knowledge, and not just knowledge of, hey, we are Black, or we was kings and all that other stuff, but actual how to live in a civilized society and actually, be a benefit, be someone who is adding to the prosperity and the success of your culture, instead of holding it back on a daily basis. Ms. T, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then we're going to end this out. We're going to come back with part 2 in a few days.
Thank you, love. I really appreciate the way you worded that. There was so much wisdom and energy and revolution and everything that you just said. I love hearing it. And I just want to say a quote from Assata Shakur before we go. I just want to share one of her quotes as we close out, because I really believe that this is a revolutionary conversation. And so this quote by Assata Shakur says, "Nobody in the world, nobody in history has ever gotten their freedom by appealing to the moral sense of the people who were oppressing them." And I think that couldn't be more true for our culture. We see our men appease and appeal to the standard of beauty that another man in culture has set. They appeal to everything that is of that culture. They appeal to their moral sense in the treatment of their women. And I'll leave it at that. I thank you so much for having this revolutionary conversation and giving me the opportunity to speak on it. And I love everything that you spoke and said. You are a revolution. Storm is a revolution. Cynthia is a revolution. This conversation is a revolutionary conversation. To be talking about this is a powerful, powerful thing.
Thank you so much, love. And thank you all for tuning in and listening to our thoughts and expressing your own. Please drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, or don't. But thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate and love you all. Peace. And until next time, we're out.